Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Well, I tell you, some days are just, wow, they're just so exciting. I mean, I can't buckle down. And I'm like, Krishna, wow, Krishna. I was remembering hearing, this was a while ago, used to describe what it's like to begin to approach Krishna, or Krishna's planet. It's like there's a mountain, and it's way off in the distance, and it's like the horizon. You can hardly see it. You really can't see it at all. All you can see is the horizon. And as you're traveling in the direction of the mountain, then the mountain appears. You can see the mountain from a distance. And it as you get closer, it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And then when you actually approach the mountain, you see what's going on there. There's trees, there's plants, there are people living on the mountain, like that. So at first, all you just see is like a horizon. And then as you head in the direction, then you can actually see, wow, there's a mountain there. There's actually a mountain there. And then you actually enter the environment of the mountain. You can see what's going on there. Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. The really amazing thing is you can actually begin to experience it even in this life, in this covered over condition of the material energy, the illusory energy, the cloud. It's like you're covered in a cloud. You can actually begin to experience the reality outside the cloud. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. It's very exhilarating. Hare Krishna, Krishna. You probably seem like a mad person, crazy madman or crazy woman. Yeah, Hare Krishna. It might seem like that. Hare Krishna, Krishna. I was just thinking this morning, like, the whole world can't be wrong, can it? Yes. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. All the actual scriptures of the world, the scriptures, revealed scriptures that have been given by empowered servants of the Lord, they're all the different revealed scriptures. They're all talking and describing, and the message, they're all giving basically the same message. Just different time, different place, different circumstances. But they're all giving the messages of Godhead. They're all bringing people in the direction of that mountain so they can enter in and actually. So first you establish, yeah, there is a mountain, and then, okay, so what's going on there? Or, yeah, there is a planet. There are planets, spiritual planets. Well, what's going on there? Hare Krishna. Just keep heading in that direction and begin to enter into realizing the transcendental spiritual environment, which is free from birth, death, old age, and disease. So, yeah. the souls living there, they're not busy trying to deal with birth, death, old age, and disease, because it isn't there. That's not what they're doing. That's what we're doing here, but that's not what they're doing. It's not part of their experience. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. And you begin to experience that. On the path, back home, back to Godhead, you can begin to actually experience that. It's so exhilarating. It's a real high. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. No substances needed, required. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. This Hare Krishna movement is the real deal. It's the real deal. It's the real deal on transcendental steroids. It's supercharged. It has to be, because the times that we're living in are so complicated and so contaminated. Everything's contaminated, not just the water and the food and the air, but the sounds that are being put out into the ether. They're all contaminated sounds. Lies are being told in high places. There's all kinds of mischief going on. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So God, Krishna, the Lord, has made it very easy. Just call out for me. That's all you have to do. Just call out. Just call out. Hare Krishna, and then I'll direct you. The Lord will direct. He directs. He makes arrangements. The pastime of Ajamil, his experience, is very instructive. And that account of what happened with Ajamil is actually very, very old. It's found in the oldest of the scriptures. I mean, you're going back into the old Puranas, you're going back who knows how many, like millenniums. And that account of Ajamil is just as pertinent then as it is now, because it's timeless. He was born in a high family. He became degraded and involved in material sense enjoyment. Took up a life of very sinful activities to maintain himself. Hey, Hare Krishna. Talking about Ajamil and how that's one of the oldest accounts of the power of the holy name. It's from the oldest Purana. One of them, which one I don't know, but really old Purana. And all he did was call out, Narayan, Narayan, Narayan. And he wasn't even calling for God. He was calling for, he's like 80 years old. He was still having sex, and he had a baby playing by his deathbed. He was calling out for his small son. That's how powerful this is. That's how surcharged it is. Lord Chaitanya's Sankirtan. The Yamadutas came, to get us, drag him out. They had their ropes, their chains. They were going to yank that soul out of that body and take him before Yamaraj and he had mountains of sinful activity to be accounted for. And the Viṣṇudutas, they heard, somebody's calling for Narayan. Let's go. And they stopped the Yamudutas. You can't take him, he's calling out names of God. And the Yamudutas are like, huh? Did you know? This guy's like, he's stolen, he's probably killed people. I don't know, it doesn't say he did, but he was pretty sinful. He's like, he's the lowest of the low, he's the worst. Hare Krishna, we have a right to him. No, you don't. He's calling out the names of the Lord. You don't have a right to him. There's the higher power than you, and that's the holy name. And Ajamil's like, he's witnessing the whole thing. Wow! So he didn't actually leave his body at that time. He recuperated from, but he was out of there. He went to some ashram, I can't remember which one. Was it Badarik ashram? One of them. And he cleaned up his act real quick. Yeah, experienced that. And the Yamudutas, they were like, hey boss. He went to Yamaraj, hey boss, what's up with that? We couldn't take him. He was like, he was filthy, man. We couldn't take him. And Yamaraj explained to them the power of the holy name. Being non-different from the Lord. Whoa. And that's what's going on the planet right now. All you Ajamils, get it together. You see it also in the pastime of Jagai and Madhai. They were kind of like Ajamil. Very similar situation. Born in high families, became degraded. They got their deliverance by Nityananda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Lord Chaitanya found out that they had attacked Nityananda. He went to the spot immediately to kill them. Nobody attacks Nityananda. Sorry. Nobody attacks Nityananda and gets away with it. And Nityananda intervened. He said, no. If you kill them, you'll have to kill everyone. Because they're all like that. They're all like that. They're all like Jagai and Madhai. They're all like that. Even those that are practicing some sort of religious rituals, they're not there yet. They're still kind of like Jagai and Madhai. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, kind of. So Nityananda is, you didn't come here to do that. That's not why you're here this time. Other times you came here to kill scum like that. But that's not why you're here, no. You're here to give them the highest thing. Yourself. You come here to give them yourself. You can't accept offenses because that's all they know how to do. They don't know how to do anything else. So you can't accept their offenses. You have to deliver them. Hare Krishna, And they did. They got it. Jagai and Madhai got it. Just like Ajamil, he got it. Jagai and Madhai got it. So it's interesting because in both cases there was intervention. There was divine intervention in both cases, which is causeless mercy. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram. One of them, I don't know if it was Jaghai or Madhai, I think it was Madhai, he took up the service of excavating Radha Kund. It had become covered over after the disappearance of Krishna. I think I got that right. Oh, Krishna! Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna. As one devotee said one time to me, and it really stuck, said, the holy name's been let loose on the planet. There's no turning back. The holy name's been let loose. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu doesn't accept offenses. If you offend his devotees, sometimes you could be in a lot of trouble. But he doesn't accept offense. And that's why we're told to chant to Mahaprabhu, chant to the to the Panchatattva first. Shri Krishna, Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Shivasati Gaur Bhaktivinoda, because they don't accept offense. They've come to deliver the most offensive. And then you can chant Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. But still, there are 10 offenses to avoid. I mean, an intelligent person is not going to continue on, just offending this way and that way. And once they get a taste, they actually get a taste for Krishna, then they're going to want to, get rid of the, anarthana vritti, get out of here, you're getting in the way, I want more. I want more taste. I don't need this anartha stuff, get it out, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Let's get it. Read about Krishna. Shri Krishna Chaitanya. Wow, Prabhupada, what you are doing. Oh my goodness. Prabhupada. Woo! Hare Krishna. It's that businessman from Calcutta. Hare Krishna. Woo! Hare Krishna. Bhaktisiddhanta took one look at him and said, he'll do everything. He's going to do it all. He'll do everything. Okay. So, this is reading about Akrūra's return journey once he takes Krishna and Balaram out of Vrindavan. And I was considering that it would have to be a devotee that could take Krishna and Balaram out of Vrindavan, because as soon as a demon comes in, Krishna kills him. Because all the residents, they freak out. Demon, So then Krishna has to kill him, So a demon couldn't take Krishna out of Vrindavan. It would have to be a devotee. And so Akrūra had that service. He was sent by the demon, but he wasn't a demon, he was a devotee. So it had to be someone like that. Hare Krishna, I have a couple more mantras. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Krishna had something to do because the entire planet was totally just out of order. It was being controlled and managed and abused and exploited by the demons. Sound familiar? Like maybe like what's going on today? It was going on then. I mean, these things happen. It's what happens. So he had to take up his princely order, his kingly order, and lead the armies ultimately to the battlefield of Kurukshetra so that they could all be killed. And then that ushered in a new age. And they say the new age. They don't know what the new age is. New age. That was the new age after the Kurukshetra, when that whole system of managing the planet was completely destroyed. No more kings. I mean, it took a while for it to really, really wind down. And now we're really at that point. No more royal order, no more kings, no more, it's gone. It's demon crazy free-for-all. Hare Krishna, which sets the stage for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. I really love the Bible, the Hebrew Testament, the New Testament. It's really like a preview of what's going on now. It's kind of like a little bird's eye view of what's fully expanded now. It's fully expanded now over the whole planet. It's fully expanded. The technology is there to really, really just ignite the whole planet. And ultimately, it's supposed to, or the idea is the whole universe. Demigods and everybody drown in this. Demons, the whole thing. We get mercy. But I just listened to a really nicely done audio version, and it wasn't all the these and thous, because it was you can understand type language, and boy, it's really you can just really see how it all fits together. It's like a little mini version. Hare Krishna, it really fits so well. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama. It's funny, when I first walked into a temple in 1971, and I saw the picture of Prabhupada sitting on they had a picture of Prabhupada on the Vyasasana. Immediately I thought, wow, Moses. I found my people. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna. And then, you get up into the New Testament, and it correlates so perfectly with the appearance of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Hare Krishna, Hare. It's about love of God. It's not just about the laws and the rules. It's about love of God. Hare, that's the ultimate. By all the Vedas, I am to be known. It just is like a little mini version. Well, it's not really a mini version because, it's absolute. But it's really expanded out. That's one thing Krishna does, is he expands. It's really expanded out in this Hare Krishna movement. Really expanded. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna. Govinda. Woo! Krishna Chaitanya. That's a little trick that to control the mind is just to chant very loudly. Just overpower the mind. Just chant loudly. And then, mind? What mind? All there is Krishna. If you can. I mean, you don't want the neighbors calling the police or anything. If you can do it, just chant loudly, and then the mind's like clobbered, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Let's see. Akrūra's return journey. Chapter 38. Jai Śrīla Prabhupada. So, the residents of Vrindavan are all think Akrūra has arrived. And he's been received very nicely. And Akrūra has taken complete shelter of Krishna and Balaram, the residents of Vrindavan. He's not happy about what he has to do, but it's his service. And so he's going to do it. He knows that Kamsa is planning this big festival so that he can get Krishna out of Vrindavan, Krishna and Balaram out of Vrindavan and kill them. He's told Akrūra that that's his plan. And Akrūra, he advises Kamsa, he says, well, we have our plans, and but, unless they're sanctioned by higher authority, they won't work. But, of course, Kamsa can't hear. So, Akrūra obviously is not concerned that Krishna is going to be killed. It's not possible, because he knows who Krishna is, Krishna and Balaram, who they are. So, he's entering in. This is a pastime, and this is the part he plays. But the residents of Vrindavan don't know that. They think there's just a big festival planned, and they're all excited. And Krishna and Balaram ask Nanda Maharaj to invite all the cowherd boys to go to Mathura to participate in the ceremony known as Dhanar Yagna. Kamsa wanted them all to go there to participate in the function. On Krishna's word, Nanda Maharaj at once called for the cowherd boys and asked them to collect all kinds of milk preparations and milk to present in the ceremony. He also sent instructions to the police chief of Vrindavan to tell all the inhabitants of Kamsa's great Dhanar Yagna function and invite them to join. A big party, everyone come on, we're going to go. Let's bring milk and yogurt and all kinds of sweets and everything. Let's go to this party. Nanda Maharaj informed the cowherd boys that they would start the next morning. They therefore arranged for the cows and bulls to carry them all to Mathura. Party time! When the gopis saw that Akrūra had come to take Krishna and Balaram away to Mathura, they became overwhelmed with anxiety. Some of them became so aggrieved that their faces turned black, and they began to breathe warmly and had palpitations in the heart. They discovered that their hair and dress immediately loosened. Hearing the news that Krishna and Balaram were leaving for Mathura, others who were engaged in household duties stopped working as if they had forgotten everything. like a person who is called forth to die and leave this world at once. Others immediately fainted due to separation from Krishna. Remembering his attractive smile and his talks with them, the gopis became overwhelmed with grief. They all remembered the characteristics of the personality of Godhead, how he moved within the area of Vrindavan, and how, with joking words, he attracted all their hearts. Thinking of Krishna in their imminent separation from him, the gopis assembled together with heavy beating hearts, completely absorbed in thought of Krishna. Tears fell from their eyes, and they began to converse as follows. Oh, Providence, you're so cruel. It appears you do not know how to show mercy to others. By your arrangement, friends contact one another, but without fulfilling their desires, you separate them. This is exactly like children's play that has no meaning. It is very abominable that you arrange to show us beautiful Krishna, whose bluish curling hair beautifies his broad forehead and sharp nose, who is always smiling to minimize all contention in this material world, and then arrange to separate him from us. Oh, Providence, you are so cruel. But most astonishingly, you appear now as Akrūra, which means not cruel. In the beginning, we appreciated your workmanship in giving us these eyes to see the beautiful face of Krishna. But now, just like a foolish creature, you are trying to take out our eyes, so we may not see Krishna here again. Krishna, the son of Nanda Maharaj, is also very cruel. He must always have new friends. He does not like to keep friendship for a long time with anyone. We gopis of Vrindavan, having left our homes, friends, relatives, have become Krishna's maidservants. But he's neglecting us and going away. He does not even look upon us, although we are completely surrendered unto him. Now, all the young girls in Mathura will have the opportunity. They are expecting Krishna's arrival, and they will enjoy his sweet smiling face and will drink its honey. Although we know that Krishna is very steady and determined, we are threatened as soon as he sees the beautiful faces of the young girls in Mathura. He will forget himself. We fear he will become controlled by them and will forget us, for we are simple village girls. He will no longer be kind to us. We therefore do not expect Krishna to return to Vrindavan. He will not leave the company of the girls in Mathura. The gopis began to imagine the great functions in the city of Mathura. Krishna would pass through the streets, and the ladies and young girls of the city would see him from the balconies of their respective homes. Mathura city contained different communities, known then as Dasar, Bhoja, Andhika, and Satvata. All these communities were different branches of the same family in which Krishna appeared, namely the Yadu dynasty. They were also expecting the arrival of Krishna. It had already been ascertained that Krishna, who is the rest of the goddess of fortune and reservoir of all pleasure and transcendental qualities, was going to visit Mathura city. The gopis then began to condemn the activities of Akrūra. They stated that he was taking Krishna, who was more dear than the dearest to them, and who was the pleasure of their eyes. He was being taken from their sight without their being informed or solaced by Akrūra. Akrūra should not have been so merciless, but should have taken compassion on them. The gopis went on to say, the most astonishing feature is that Krishna, the son of Nanda, without consideration, has already seated himself on the chariot. From this it appears that Krishna is not very intelligent. He may be very intelligent, but he's not very civilized. Not only Krishna, But all the cowherd men are so callous that they are already yoking the bulls and calves for the journey to Mathura. The elderly persons in Vrindavan are also merciless. They do not take our plight into consideration and stop Krishna's journey to Mathura. Even the demigods are very unkind to us. They are not impeding his going to Mathura. The gopis prayed to the demigods to create some natural disturbance, such as a hurricane, storm, or heavy rainfall, so that Krishna could not go to Mathura. They then began to consider, despite our elderly parents and guardians, we shall personally stop Krishna from going to Mathura. We have no other alternative than to take this direct action. Everyone has gone against us to take away Krishna from our sight. Without him, we cannot live for a moment. The gopis thus decided to obstruct the passage through which the chariot of Krishna was supposed to pass. They began to talk among themselves. We have passed a very long night, which seemed only a moment, engaged in the rasa dance with Krishna. We were looking at his sweet smile and were embracing and talking. Now, how shall we live even for a moment if he goes away from us? At the end of the day, in the evening, along with his elder brother Balaram, Krishna would return home with his friends. His face would be smeared with the dust raised by the hoofs of the cows, and he would smile and play on his flute and look upon us so kindly. How shall we be able to forget him? How shall we be able to forget Krishna, who is our life and soul? He has already taken away our hearts in so many ways throughout our days and nights, and if he goes away, there is no possibility of continuing to live. Thinking like this, the gopis became more and more grief-stricken at Krishna's leaving Vrindavan. They could not check their minds, and they began to cry loudly, calling the different names of Krishna. "O Damodar, dear Madhava!" The gopis cried all night before the departure of Krishna. As soon as the sun rose, Akrūra finished his morning bath, got on the chariot, and began to start for Mathura with Krishna and Balaram. Nanda Maharaj and the cowherd men got up on bullock carts after loading them with milk preparations such as yogurt, milk, and ghee filled in big earthen pots, and began to follow the chariot of Krishna and Balaram. See, they're not thinking that Krishna's not coming back. They're thinking they're just going for some sort of like festival or party or something. But the gopis, they know he's not coming back. They know. Or if they don't know, they fear the worst. In spite of Krishna's asking them not to obstruct their way, all the gopis surrounded the chariot and stood up to see Krishna with pitiable eyes. Krishna was very much affected upon seeing the plight of the gopis. But his duty was to start from Mathura, for this was foretold by Narada. Krishna therefore consoled the gopis. He told them they should not be grieved. He was coming back very soon after finishing his business. But they could not be persuaded to disperse. The chariot, however, began to head west, and as it proceeded, the minds of the gopis followed it as far as possible. They watched the flag on the chariot as long as it was visible. Finally, they could only see the dust of the chariot in the distance. The gopis did not move from their places, but stood until the chariot could not be seen at all. They remained standing still as if they were painted pictures. All the gopis decided that Krishna was not returning immediately, and with greatly disappointed hearts they returned to their respective homes. Being greatly disturbed by the absence of Krishna, they simply thought all day and night about his pastimes, and thus derived some consolation. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Okay, Krishna, Haribo.